let's unpack this. I want you to try a little mental exercise with me.
Okay.
Imagine you are standing in your backyard. Maybe you're looking at some autumn leaves falling, watching the clouds move across the sky, just, taking a breath.
Got it.
Now imagine that exact same spot, that same square footage of Earth, but fast forward 5,000 years, the house is gone. The trees are different.
The language people are speaking.
You wouldn't understand a single syllable.
It's a staggering amount of time. I mean, we say 5,000 years like it's just a number, but that is roughly 200 generations.
200. Wow.
It's the difference between scratching cymbals on a turtle shell and live streaming a video from Mars.
Exactly. It's an ocean of time. Usually when we look back that far, everything feels blurry. But, and here's the kicker, what if you could reach out across that massive ocean and hand someone a physical object?
Just pass it from your hand to theirs.
Yeah. What if the timeline wasn't a wall, but a window?
That is the beautiful, and I'd say slightly haunting premise of the source material we're covering today.
It really is.
We're looking at a short story titled The Invisible Unbreakable Thread by the poet and writer Tassos Lampropoulos. And I have to say, this isn't just historical fiction.
No.
It's a meditation on legacy.
A deep one. And what I love about this story is the structure. It's split right down the middle. We have two timelines.
Right.
On one side, we have the year 2937 BC in the ancient city of Lanzhou. On the other side, 1937 AD, nearly 5,000 years later, in the exact same location.
Precisely. And the mission of this deep dive is to explore what connects those 2 points. The author uses a very specific device, a jade artifact, to bridge that gap.
The jade.
But underneath the plot, this is really a story about fathers and sons, about the pursuit of perfection in art, and about how heritage isn't just dust and bones, it's something active.
So let's jump into the time machine. We're going back to 2937 BC. The setting is Lanzhou City. Now, for those who might not be archaeology buffs, give us the quick context. This wasn't just a village, was it?
Oh, far from it. This was, they called it the Venice of the Stone Age. It was a highly complex society in the Yangtze River Delta. They had massive water management systems, hydraulic engineering that was, frankly, way ahead of its time.
Incredible.
But the thing they are most famous for, and what anchors our story, is their jade.
And this is where I need you to get a little technical for a second.
Yeah.
Because in the first section of the story, we meet our narrator. He's a master jade craftsman.
Right.
But this is the Neolithic era. They didn't have metal tools. They didn't have steel chisels or diamond drills. How on earth were they carving one of the hardest stones on the planet?
That is the incredible part. You don't carve jade in the traditional sense like you would whittle wood. Nephrite jade is tougher than steel.
So if you hit it with a rock.
The rock breaks, yeah. So in the Neolithic period, they used abrasion, they used sand, likely shark sand or quartz sand, and maybe strings or bamboo. They would painstakingly grind the stone away, grain by grain.
So when we talk about a jade disc, we aren't talking about something made in a weekend. We're talking about months, maybe years of just friction.
For a single object, yes, exactly. And that context is so crucial for understanding the narrator's mindset.
Okay.
We meet him at this pivotal moment. He has just achieved the highest honor his society can offer, the Medal of Excellence for the best jade craftsman in Liangzhou.
He's at the absolute peak of his profession.
The top. But, and this is a great character moment, instead of, partying with his friends or letting it go to his head, where do we find him?
He's visiting his father's grave.
It creates such a somber, reflective atmosphere immediately. And the dynamic there is fascinating. It wasn't a relationship of pure coddling.
Oh.
The narrator remembers his father's words as being hard and sharp, like the jade axe blades they used to make. He says, "Your words carved red circles in my heart."
Carved red circles in my heart. That is such a vivid, almost painful image. When I read that, I really had to pause. Is he talking about trauma? Yeah. Or is this something else?
I think, given the context of the craftsmanship, it's a metaphor for the discipline of the art itself. Think about how they made the jade friction grinding, pressure. The red circles are likely the emotional friction burns of perfectionism. The father wasn't being cruel. He was shaping the son, just like they shaped the stone.
That makes a lot of sense. It's that intense old school mentorship.
Right.
The father was pushing him to see something others couldn't. There's that beautiful flashback where the father points to the autumn yard, the golden leaves.
It's the clouds rushing across the sky.
Yeah, and he tells his son to see the hidden harmony.
And that is the philosophy of the entire piece, the masterpiece of nature.
Why?
The idea is that the art already exists inside the raw stone. The craftsman isn't imposing his will, he's revealing what's already there. If you can't see the magic in a dead leaf or a cloud, you'll never find it in a rock.
And that clearly worked because the narrator is standing there with this gold medal. But what I found so touching is his internal monologue. He's telling his father, I haven't surpassed you. You live on through my hands. It's like he sees himself just as the vessel for his father's teachings.
That is the essence of legacy, isn't it? The denial of the ego. He credits the father for every detail in his new creations.
And speaking of creations,
We have to talk about them.
we have to talk about the artifacts he presents to the governor. The text gives us these incredible descriptions of 3 specific items. They feel so real, I could almost picture them on a museum shelf.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
So he's at the ceremony. The first one he presents is for the ruler.
Yes, the heavy square disc of dark green jade.
And the text mentions it was cut with perfect symmetry and carved with patterns of heaven and earth. This is a clear reference to the Kong tubes that Liangzhu culture is famous for.
The Kong tubes, right?
They are square on the outside to represent the earth and circular on the inside to represent the sky. It's a geometric bridge between the mundane and the divine.
It sounds incredibly difficult to make, especially with that sand grinding technique we talked about.
Beyond difficult. Then he has a gift for the governor's wife.
A vase.
A vase made of white-yellow jade. He describes it as having a natural luster, and he carved a fish on the outside.
Which implies a certain delicacy, a connection to the river life that sustained the city.
For sure. But the third item, that's the one that adds a little narrative spice.
The little white jade dog. He gives it to the governor's daughter. And he admits, just to his father's spirit, that he hopes she'll look at him and feel the love he has hidden in his heart.
It's such a human moment. You have this master artisan celebrated by the whole city, and he's still just a guy crushing on a girl, hoping a cute jade dog will get her invention.
It really grounds him, doesn't it? He's not just a historical figure or a statistic. He's a person with romantic hopes.
But then the story takes a turn.
It does.
The atmosphere shifts from this celebration to something more ominous. He tells his father about a dream he had the night before.
And this is where things get a little Twilight Zone. In the dream, his city, Liangzhu, is gone.
Vanished.
The yard is empty. He's walking through a landscape that feels familiar but wrong, and he meets a young man.
And note the details. The young man is wearing strange clothes and speaks an unknown language. This is our first crossover point.
Right.
The ancient craftsman doesn't understand the words. I mean, how could he? They are separated by 5 millennia of linguistic evolution. But the connection is immediate.
Because of the craft, right?
Exactly.
He takes this stranger to his workshop, or at least the dream version of it.
Exactly. They bond over the jade. It's the universal language. The craftsman sees that this stranger is excited by the work, that he touches the stone with reverence. So he decides to give him a gift.
A small green disc with a circular hole in the middle.
A bee disc.
And he gives the stranger a specific instruction, even though he knows the guy can't understand him. He says, show it to more people.
That line gives me chills. Show it to more people. It's a plea for preservation. He knows deep down that his world is fragile.
He wants his work, his culture to be seen.
And then he wakes up, relieved that his city is still there, not realizing he has just sent a message 5,000 years into the future.
So that sets the stage. Now we flip the record, Section 2. We jump from 2937 BC all the way to 1937 AD.
A huge jump.
We are still in Liangzhu, or what is now the outskirts of Hangzhou, and we meet Qianlong.
And 1937 is a very specific choice of year. It's a time of immense tension in China, right on the brink of war. Modernity is clashing with tradition.
And here we have Qianlong, an 18-year-old boy, and just like the ancient craftsman.
He starts the conversation by sharing a dream with his father.
And it's the same dream, but from the other perspective. This gave me goosebumps. Qianlong tells his dad he met a beggar near the river.
That description is telling, isn't it? To the ancient craftsman, the modern boy had strange clothes. To the modern boy, the ancient artisan looked like a beggar because of his primitive clothing.
Good point.
But the interaction is identical. The beggar leads him to a straw and mud workshop, shows him the jade, and hands him a small green disc.
Qianlong wakes up with that weird feeling where a dream feels too real, he can't shake it, so he decides to go to the spot from the dream. He goes to the riverbank.
And this is where the story moves from a nice parallel into magical realism. He goes to the spot. There's no workshop, obviously, just fields and
some archaeological excavations nearby.
Right. But he sees a large stone that just calls to him.
He moves the stone, which takes some effort, and boom, There it is, buried in the dirt.
The green jade disc.
The same one.
The visceral reaction described here is so powerful. His heart is beating like crazy. He's shivering because this isn't just finding a cool rock. He recognizes it.
From the dream.
It is the specific object from the dream. The text says he wiped the dirt off and was sure it is this jade disc.
Can you imagine? I mean, really, can you imagine waking up from a dream where someone gave you something, going outside, digging a hole, and finding it?
I'd lose my mind.
Me too. So he runs back to his father, shaking, holding this ancient artifact.
And here we see the role of the modern father. He acts as the voice of reason in historical context. He identifies the object immediately. He says, this is a jade bai.
And he connects it to the real-world archaeology of the time. He mentions Shizhen. Now, the source material includes an author's note about this.
Right.
Shizhen was a real person.
Yes, and this is a fascinating nugget of history included in the story. Shizhen discovered the Liangzhu culture in 1936. The most incredible part.
He was only 24 years old.
24. That is wildly impressive.
I was barely figuring out how to do my laundry at 24, and this guy is discovering Neolithic civilizations.
It highlights the theme of youth and passion that runs through the story. You have the 18-year-old Shanlong and the 24-year-old archaeologist. It suggests that this energy, this willingness to look for the hidden harmony, belongs to the young.
Or at least the young at heart.
The people who are still willing to dream.
So Shanlong's dad confirms it's a jade bai, and it's from the Neolithic era. But then they hit a moral dilemma. Shanlong feels this intense emotional bond with the disc. The ghost or the memory of the craftsman gave it to him. But his dad puts his foot down.
He does. He says it belongs to the state and therefore to all citizens of China. Now, looking at this through the lens of the story, this isn't just about following the law.
It's about more than that.
It's about the purpose of the object. The father insists they hand it over to the archaeologists.
And initially, Shanlong is reluctant. But then he has this realization. He realizes the dream wasn't just a gift. It was a task.
A mission.
The ancient craftsman in the dream asked him to show it to more people.
Exactly. If Shanlong keeps it in his pocket or hides it in a drawer, the object dies. He fails the mission.
He fails the craftsman.
But if he gives it to the museum, if he lets the world see it, he fulfills the craftsman's 5,000-year-old wish.
That is the invisible thread. Shanlong says, he and I become the two fixed points of a bridge across the centuries.
It's such a beautiful metaphor.
It really is.
Yeah.
The artifact itself is just a stone, but the human connection, the intent of the maker, and the recognition of the finder, that's the thread.
And it changes the trajectory of Shanlong's life. He's so inspired by this event and by the story of the young archaeologist Xinjing that he makes a huge decision right there.
He tells his dad,
I will study archaeology.
He finds his purpose. He wants to be part of that thread. He wants to ensure that the whispers of the past aren't lost.
It connects back perfectly to what the ancient father taught his son. We must leave behind more than we found.
That phrase, leave behind more than we found, is really the anchor of the whole story, isn't it?
It absolutely is. Think about the symmetry.
Okay.
In the first section, the ancient craftsman is worried about surpassing his father, but ultimately focuses on creating perfect art to leave behind.
Right.
In the second section, Shanlong decides that his contribution to the world won't be making the jade, but preserving it. They are two sides of the same coin.
Creation and preservation.
And it really highlights the universal language of art. I mean, in the dream, they couldn't speak.
Not the word.
They were babbling at each other in completely different tongues. But the jade, the craftsmanship, that communicated everything perfectly.
It creates a shared reality. Art bypasses the logic centers of the brain and speaks directly to emotion.
It does.
The ancient craftsman didn't need to explain, this is a bi-disc representing the heavens. Shenlong held it and felt the weight, the smoothness, the care that went into it. That was enough.
It's also interesting to look at the parallel of passion. The ancient father talked about seeing the magic in stones. The modern father talks about the archaeologist working with great passion and faith.
Yes. It suggests that the mindset of the artist and the mindset of the scientist or the archaeologist aren't that different.
Not at all.
Both require you to look at the world more closely than everyone else.
Exactly. The artist looks at a rough stone and sees a vase. The archaeologist looks at a mound of dirt and sees a civilization. Both are acts of vision.
Acts of vision, I like that.
They are both seeing what could be or what was rather than just what is.
You know, going back to the durability of jade for a second, it's kind of the hero of the story. If that craftsman had carved wood or painted on silk, the message,
It wouldn't have arrived.
it would have rotted away.
That's a profound point. Jade is chemically incredibly stable. It's virtually indestructible by natural forces. So when the ancient craftsman chose that medium, he was arguably performing the first act of preservation.
He was writing a letter on paper he knew wouldn't disintegrate.
Right.
It makes you wonder about our own legacy. We create so much stuff today. Emails, digital photos, plastic gadgets. But compared to jade, we are writing in water.
We have more information but less durability. The Liangzhu culture vanished. Their language is gone. We don't know the names of their kings. But the buy discs are still here.
Still shiny, still smooth.
The object outlasted the ideology.
That is a humbling thought. The object outlasted the ideology.
Yeah.
And that's what Shanlong connects with. He doesn't know the craftsman's politics. He just connects with the humanity of the effort.
And that survival wasn't accidental in the context of the story. The narrative suggests a conscious effort from the past to reach the future. The prophetic dream element implies that our ancestors want to be remembered.
So it reframes archaeology not as us discovering them,
but as them finally getting our attention.
That's a spooky but kind of comforting thought. Like they're waving at us from across the canyon of time.
Precisely. The jade buy is the handshake. And the character of Shi Xinjing, the real-life archaeologist, serves as the proof that this connection yields real-world results. He heard the whispers, as Shanlong puts it.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Tassos Lampropoulos' story, we're left with this image of the thread. It's invisible, sure, but it's unbreakable.
It really is. It stretches from a workshop in the Neolithic era to a museum shelf in the 20th century, and now to us talking about it.
It really forces us to reconsider our relationship with objects and places. Every artifact in a museum was held by a human hand.
Every ancient ruin was someone's backyard where they watched the clouds. The story humanizes history in a way that is so effective.
It definitely makes me look at old things differently. It's not just old stuff. It's a message in a bottle.
A message in a bottle made of jade. And the message is simply, we were here. We created beauty. Please don't forget us.
So here's a question for you listening right now. We talked about the ancient craftsman leaving behind his jade and Shanlong dedicating his life to archaeology. What about you? What threads are you weaving right now?
It's the ultimate question. We often focus on what we accumulate, not what we leave behind.
If someone digs up your life in 5,000 years, in the year 7026, what will they find that connects them to you? Will they find something that carries the red circles of your passion? Or just dust?
And to build on that, maybe pay a little more attention to your dreams. The story suggests that inspiration might just be a very long-distance phone call.
I love that. Maybe that weird dream you had last night wasn't just random neurons firing. Maybe it was an echo. Maybe it was history trying to hand you a jade disc, just waiting for you to wake up and go find it.
Keep your eyes on the ground and your mind open to the hidden harmony.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the invisible, unbreakable thread. We'll catch you next time.